Today we're going to be doing a watercolor island map. Here I'm just taping down some cardstock to my desk. You could use watercolor paper instead, but it should be a nice heavy paper for best results. Now the tape will help the paper to lay flat, and it also gives you a nice white border around the map. Now before you begin, you might want to Google island maps and just look at some of the features that are on the different maps. Now, for this is a fictional island. You're not going to be trying to copy any particular island, but looking at the maps will give you some ideas on what kind of things to include in your map. Now, the first thing you're going to do is take your pencil and you're going to draw it out. Now, you got to remember to add some interesting details or interesting features such as peninsulas and bays. Make sure the edges are nice and jagged. You don't want to just have a circle or a lima bean kind of shape. Now this is sped up about 4 times the speed, so when I actually did this, I actually took my time. Here I added some smaller islands just for interest. Now when it comes time to painting, you want to make sure your brush is very wet. I just used some browns and greens and I put them on there, often going back to the water dish. You're going to be going over top of this with Sharpie, and if you make the colors too dark, you're not going to be able to see any of the special features your island has. Now here I'm not trying to smooth out the paint too much. I'm just letting the natural variations of colors stay there. You can come back with a smaller brush and just fill in some of the details, or just get right to the edge of your map. Now before you paint the water, let this part dry completely. This is very important. But once it is dry, come back with some blue and you can start painting it. Here again, I made the paint very wet. So I used a lot of water, constantly dipping back into the water dish and letting it stay very wet. Once the water's done, let it dry completely. If you rush it, the Sharpie is not going to work well on the damp paper. This is my favorite part of the project. It just really makes the map pop. Just so satisfying to see. Once you've outlined it with Sharpie, you can add in some special features of your island. Now these are the kind of details that will really make your island one of a kind. So you might want to add things like mountains, a lighthouse, some quicksand. You could go with an ancient island, or something more modern with, an airport or big cities. Really anything you want. Now with these mountains, I actually came back later with a thicker Sharpie. I thought they just needed to pop a little bit more. Here I'm adding a trail, and I was imagining, a bumpy, rugged trail that would have lots of twists and turns. Now you can give your island a name. I called mine Komodo Island just because I thought it sounded cool. Now one thing about the name of your island, when people are making the name, sometimes they get into a rush and the name of their island isn't up to the same quality as the rest of their project. So make sure that for yours that it is. Now a little tip here: when you're removing the tape, pull the tape away from the page at a 90-degree angle. It will really help to reduce tearing. And there's that white border I was telling you about earlier. Well, there's my map, Komodo Island. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you'll try it for yourself.